So it's a Monday. I had a weekend. I haven't had a good weekend. So we're gonna do a tag back today, and I put the Patreon vote up, and everybody wanted to see the Blvd Mech 20 or Tommy 20, and I can't find it. And I don't feel good at all. I don't want to be doing this right now, but I need to. So we'll do a cop-out episode, and I'm just gonna talk about essentially the entire AirTech line. This won't be a good video. I'm creatively bankrupt at the moment, but I think it will still be okay. Let's talk about some blasters. So the AirTech line was released in 2002, and it was kind of like a new Supermax. It was the last real air blasters that Hasbro was kind of doing for quite some time. I mean, there was like some things after it, but they weren't the AirTech line. And the AirTech line is probably where things were at their best, and also where things went incredibly wrong with everything air-powered that Hasbro did. Because then they did like the Rapid Fire 20, or maybe that came out after, but then they did the Mag Strike, and I mean, they were cool, but they weren't the AirTech line. And the AirTech line is one of those things where it's the initial high-power, super crazy, stupid, powerful blasters that are really easy to get. And they were followed up, thankfully, by Blvd with things like the Panther, and then, of course, the Blvd Big Blast, and the Ultimate Blastzuka, and the XBZ. There's a lot of blasters out there, but we're talking about the AirTech line, and we're better to start off with the AirTech line than with the AirTech 1000. And you'll see a pattern that's going to emerge and then be completely destroyed by something that's this. But this is the AirTech 1000. You will notice that I don't actually, I'm not going to shoot these because they're god-awful. They're some of the worst stock blasters, but you gotta remember these things came out in a different time. The AirTech 1000 is a 4-shot rotating turret Springer. It's the only Springer, unless you count the Ball Blaster, which is the reactor, which is terrible, and I'm not going to be talking about it because it's god-awful. But the AirTech 1000 is a thing. You pull that back, it primes the blaster. You pull the trigger, it rotates and fires. It holds 4 darts. It's a reasonably little-sized pistol. It's got a really beefy spring in here, but it's not good. It's horrible. And from what I read on a wiki, it's nearly impossible to mod, so nobody really cares about the AirTech 1000. I literally bought this. I did not pay $4 for it, that's for freaking sure. But I bought this specifically for a video, but there's no way I could talk about this for several minutes. It's not going to happen. So let's move along to what is far, far better in the AirTech 2000. Now this is where things get interesting, because the AirTech 2000 actually has a pump. It actually holds air, and it fires. And that's a good thing, because if you know anything, then you would know that air tanks are good, because air tanks make darts go really, really far. And that means they're also really powerful. So you want to have air tanks, and in the case of the AirTech 2000, it's got a modestly sized air tank. It's not huge, it's small enough to fit in the scope of something like, I don't know, a long shot scope? Which is awesome, because then you can have a scope on a blaster that shoots a dart. Who doesn't want that? The AirTech 2000 is kind of like a, well, it was completely replaced by the Panther, of course. It's nowhere near as powerful as a Panther, and to make them really strong, you have to basically cover the tank in, resin and fiberglass and reinforce it, because you can't blow the tanks up on these things. But to make this thing not suck, because in its stock form it does suck, you would completely rebarrel the barrel. For that, you would use PETG, half-inch PETG, P-E-T-G. I'm going to call it PETG because that's a cute name. And probably replace the pump. It's not bad. It's a little flimsy, but it's not bad. And the actual look of the AirTech 2000 is pretty darn spiffy, and you'll notice it looks suspiciously similar to the AirTech 1000, but this thing in the back is actually clear, which shows a single hose. I don't know why they do that. And it has what's called the Liquitron power gauge, which is just a thing that you probably won't care about after you bought it. In fact, you will want to get rid of this, but when you pump it up, the thing there, it fills up, and then when you pull the trigger, it goes down. And then you pump it up, and that's how you know it's full. You know, besides the fact that it has a overpressure release gauge. These are really good. And the best thing about this is when you go to a Goodwill or a Salvation Army or something, and little Timmy has already filled up his basket with everything that looks vaguely like a military weapon, he didn't pick this up. So you find these all the time, and they're awesome. Or if you need one, you can get them on eBay for nothing. They're great, great blasters. Highly recommended. It's not like an end-all primary air blaster, but they're good. Small grip, kind of dumb trigger, but they work. And now let's screw everything up by talking about something that's not the AirTech 3000 that I've already talked about in the form of the AirTech Jet Squadron. This is rare. I found it. It doesn't have the pistol grip. It has like a grip that you could put on it to shoot things, and I believe it shot miniature planes, so it was a jet that shot other planes. And as you can tell, the front of it is clearly a pump, and normally you'd have either the 4 shots or the infamous blast button. I paid $1 for this. This thing's rad. I really wanted to make it in like a arm-mounted shield thing to shoot darts, and I noticed it was leaking, and I took it apart, and the thing is an absolute travesty inside, and yeah, that's never going to happen. It's never going to work. It's leaking everywhere. It's an AirTech blaster, but it's not the AirTech 3000, because this is the AirTech 3000. Now, I have actually modified an AirTech 3000. These things are just insane. They're too powerful to shoot standard darts. If you try to shoot a standard dart out of this after modifying it, you get something like something out of Contra. The dart just kind of goes like this, and it's complete RNG if you actually hit your target. And Nerfomania has an awesome step-by-step guide on how to modify these things, and basically all you need is PET-G, a mag strike pump, because this pump is freaking god-awful. You might be able to modify yours if you want to reduce the seal to actually do the automatic rotate, because normally you fill all 6 barrels, and when you pump it up, it holds air, and it has a Liquitron power gauge. I happen to grab one of the ones in my collection that the Liquitron power gauge is broken. It still holds air and fires, and then after you fire through some black magic wizardry, you pump it, and it will rotate. So you would replace the pump, you would rebarrel the barrels, you can cut a notch in the side of it to have rear loading, use a little bit of brass, a little bit of foam, a little bit of glue, and you get yourself an awesome blast. Seriously, check this out. I still have the video. Well then, thing's dumb powerful. I loved that blaster. Somebody at Dart Wars stole it from me. I built it for my roommate, but somebody from Dart Wars stole it from me. I have a lot of these. Nobody picks them up. No, kids don't want this. It doesn't look like a freaking combat shotgun. It looks something stupid, so they never pick these things up. Great grip, great blaster. This has a bigger air tank than the AirTech 2000, not by a whole lot, but darn do these things get powerful. The size of the air tank doesn't always matter. A smaller tank, as long as it can hold more pressure, will hold more pressure. It's possible. Air volume is really nice, but with a powerful small air tank, there's more of a pop, so you can have shorter barrels, about a foot long on this case, and it's stupid powerful. Good blaster, highly recommend picking them up. Spend a night modding it. I did, they're pretty awesome. The biggest problem is taking the front off, but we're not done, because there's one more blaster we need to talk about, and that is the rare AirTech 4000. Now this thing has double the barrels of the AirTech 3000, but it's essentially the same thing. The same kind of really dumb pump with the Liquitron power gauge, which is a lot more noticeable. It does fire, it does work, it works exactly the same way. It has a much better grip. This is the daddy Nambu, or Papa Grandpa Nambu of the entire series. And it's awesome. If you can get one of these, you modify one of these, because one of these is pretty much all you would need. Awesome way to have a rear loading thing. Pump it up. Good to go. The only problem with that is, again, when you modify them, you usually, since they have a turret, you increase the friction of the seal, which means you probably won't have the rotating turret. You have to manually rotate it. It's not a big deal. You get used to it, but these things are not easy to come by. The other blasters, at least most of them, except for the Airjet one, were re-released under the Action Blasters line. This one didn't. I don't know why. It's one of the coolest. I'm really glad to have one, but man, it's awesome. Now, there's a rumor going around about this thing that it has a larger air tank than the AirTech 3000. I can confirm it doesn't. I've had two of these. This is my second one. I didn't open this one. The first one was broken. This one's not. And they have the same size air tank. So, not a whole lot to say there, but that's a bunch of blasters that I'd like to talk about that are awesome, that you should be looking for at Goodwill, that I don't think I'd normally be able to fill an entire video with. Again, total cop-out episode, but AirTech! There is, again, one more. It's basically the atomizer ball was. Let me know what you think about the AirTech line down in the comment section below. I'm Walcom S7. Thank you very much for watching this video, and of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different one.